Hey everybody, in this video we are going to be testing out 6 different types of 12AX7s in the preamp section of this Fender Tone-Master. It's currently loaded up with Chinese tubes, but we're going to be testing RCAs, GEs, Sylvanias, RFTs, Mullards, and Telefunkens. We'll go ahead and play both the clean and dirty side of the amp with all these different tubes in there and check out what sort of differences we may be able to find. So we'll go ahead and we'll start off with the Chinese 12AX7 that are already in there. Not too shabby. We'll go ahead and check the dirty side. So that was the amp with the Chinese tubes installed. I'm going to go ahead and shut the thing down and let it cool off a little bit, and then I'm going to install the RCAs. Alright, I've shut the amp down and turned it around, and I'm going to go ahead and swap out these preamp tubes. It's not very complicated to do if you haven't done it before. Here we go. I changed out the 3 Chinese tubes for the 3 RCAs. I haven't made any other adjustments to the amp or to the guitar, so we'll go ahead and play this again on the clean and dirty channels. So that's the RCA 12AX7s on the clean channel. We'll go ahead and try the dirty side. Well, that's pretty interesting. I didn't think I felt a whole lot of difference on the clean side, but on the distorted channel it really seemed to me like complex chords were much easier to define each note, and also it just seemed kind of tighter and just honestly I think the 3 RCAs in there sound quite a bit better than the Chinese. I'll shut the amp down and go ahead and install the GEs, and we'll do the same thing. Alright, I had swapped out all 3 Chinese tubes for 3 RCAs. Now I'm going to leave the 3rd RCA in for the remainder of these tests, and that's just the phase inverter. So for the rest of these tests, we're just going to be testing valve 1 and 2 with different tubes. I've got the GEs installed now, so we'll go ahead and give them a listen. Well, I think those sound pretty nice too. To my ears, they've got a little bit more mid-range maybe, or treble than the RCAs had on the clean side. So we'll go over and switch to channel 2 and see what kind of trouble we can get into over there. That's interesting. On the distorted side too, I honestly think that this has a little bit more mid-range and a little bit more treble to it. If I was running these tubes full time, I would probably make some adjustments on the EQ. But at this point, we're going to leave all of that alone so that we roll all of these different pairs of tubes on a level playing field. Okay, so I've pulled out the GEs, and these are now Sylvanias in valve 1 and 2 with the RCA still in the phase inverter. So here's the clean side. Well, the Sylvanias on the clean side sound actually really pretty good in here. They sound a little more compressed perhaps, not quite as bright as the GEs that just came out. Honestly, I think they sound pretty good on the clean side. We'll go ahead and try channel 2 and see what the high gain sounds like. So with the Sylvanias, I thought maybe they didn't have quite as much high end as the GE. They seemed a little bit more compressed perhaps. If there was one downside to them, I wonder if maybe they weren't picking out each individual note of the distorted complex chords towards the end. It seemed like they weren't really quite being represented quite the same. Again, maybe easily solved by adjusting the EQ, but we're going to leave all that set right where it's at for the next 3 sets of tubes. So those are the Sylvanias, and these are the RFTs. So the RFTs clean sound pretty good. To me, they're not quite as bright as the GE, but have a little bit more clarity and high end than the Sylvania. They also seem to have a little bit more of a natural compression to them. It seems like I can dig in a little bit harder with the pick, and it doesn't seem to kind of break up quite as much. Now we'll go ahead and we'll try the dirty side. Sounded pretty nice too. A real smooth, again, kind of more compressed sound than I heard from some of the other tubes, and I think it's fantastic. I'm going to go ahead and pull these RFTs out and we'll load this thing up with the Mullards. Did you see that flash? I love that stuff. Those are the RFTs, and these are the Mullards. On the clean side, they seem to be a little bit more in the bright and mid-ranged section. They seem to be up a little bit there. Certainly not quite as much bass response as I heard out of the RCAs or maybe even any of them, to be honest with you. But there's a nice clean sound. Again, if I was going to run these full time, I'd just make some changes to the EQ. But for here, we're going to leave everything set just the way it's been. So I'm going to go ahead now and we're going to listen to these Mullards on the high gain channel. Sounds pretty good to me. Again, a little bit more mid-range and high mids than I think we got out of some of the other tubes. So those are the RFTs, and these are the Telefunkens. again, a real nice sounding tube. The Telefunken stimmies seem a little bit thinner than some. They don't quite have the low end, certainly, that the RCA does. They seem to be EQ'd a little bit closer to the RFTs, but maybe without quite as much compression. To me, a real fine sounding tube. Probably not my first choice in this amp. So now we'll go ahead and check out the high gain channel. Wow. So I really like the Telefunkens in the high gain channel. They're very precise when picking out the complex chord distorted. They sound just fantastic. Seemed a little bit beefier even on the high gain channel than I thought they were going to compare to the low gain. Fantastic set of tubes. So now we've listened to 7 different types of preamp tubes through this amp, and I think each one of them does have just slight little differences in characteristics. It's not a huge change, but I think there are changes there just the same. I'm interested to hear what you all think about this. Please ask questions or leave comments. And thanks very much for watching.